Hey, I just thought I'd do a little music update. They're not really new. I haven't bought anything new, but this is kind of like just going to show you what I've been listening to lately. I've been doing a bit of tidying up in this room up here, which is still a bit of a well, yeah, it's a mess still, but it's not as much of a mess as it was. I need to get rid of a load of crap, to be honest. But yeah, so when I was tidying up, this is what I was listening to. I'm not sure what the lights like up here. Rakoff or Rakoff, and sure you want to pronounce it. I always sort of. It sounds. I had an Australian housemate at one point. I've got a different Australian housemate now, but I had another Australian housemate before, and it's like rack off, mate, rack off. It's kind of like an Aussie insult, like rack off, like kind of thing. But I think it's pronounced rake off. It's but pronounce it how you like. It's still in the actual player actually. I need to finish listening to it, but it's like a really cool, heavy doom death, maybe some folky kind of stuff going on there. But yeah, pretty cool release, and a lot of thrash as well. Because when sometimes when you're just relaxing, just hanging out, thrash hits all the buttons, Always does for me anyway. Sorry about all the blinking glare and reflection. But a little bit of Malaya Rage, Solitary Solitude, which I believe was their second album. I've got it on vinyl as well, actually. This is another one I've got on vinyl also. The Force. This was the first album by Onslaught that I heard. Not the first album they brought out, but the first one I heard was Power from Hell was the first one. It's decent, but this is the real cream of the crop of their early stuff. In fact, when they came back, they've actually got some pretty good albums when they came back as well. I don't actually have them all, but what I've heard of them, I had the first one when they first came back. It's Spitting Blood in the Face of God, is that what it's called? Or something, I can't remember. I know that song's on there anyway, but that album was really cool. And I've seen them live a couple of times since then, and yeah. Though I always used to shout out for them to play Contracting Blood off of this one. I've seen them a few times indoors at Bloodstock, when Bloodstock was an indoor gig. I remember seeing them there once and I'm shouting out, play Contracting Blood, because I just love that. I love that chorus of that, the way it just goes on forever. And I kind of know it off by, when I'm singing it along to it, I know it off by heart. I can't remember it off the top of my head now. But it's, oh no, tormented soul, you will bear my child. Evil slur from the frosty skies, I possess your mind. Bound by chains, immortal flames, mystic chants for the holy grave. Sacrifice, I was like, lust for blood, sacrifice, contracting blood. Contracting blood. I leave my mark upon your flesh. Fuck you till you bleed. Oh, thrash you till you bleed. It says on the lyric sheet, thrash you till you bleed, but that's not what he sings. Anyway. I've not heard them since they got the new guy. Apparently, Psykiller has left, but he was on this album. He didn't sing on the first album. He was on this album, and then the next album after this, he was kicked out, wasn't he? And he did a band called Mirror Mirror for a while. Because I remember seeing Onslaught with actually a different singer after Steve Grimmett. Steve Grimmett came in for In Search of Sanity. Then they were supposed to be doing another album, and they did a gig at the Marquee. And Mirror Mirror with Psykiller headline was supporting in a band called Dead On as well. And but I think it was a geezer from a rock band. They kind of disappeared after that. They sort of split up. And then they come back years later with the new album, and I was actually at the launch party for that new album. We went. I can't even remember where it was. It was somewhere up in the Midlands somewhere, I think. I remember going along with a couple of mates of mine and staying in a B&B overnight and going to the launch. But anyway, kind of got off on a tangent there by accident. Right, this one I listened to a couple of Dutch death metal bands, Netherlands bands. This was split. Nembryonic Hammer Death, which is one of the best names ever, but they took the Hammer Death off of their names, became Nembryonic. It's not as good. Nembryonic Hammer Death just says, BAM! BAM! We are Nembryonic Hammer Death. Have some of that kind of thing. You know what I mean? No prisoners. But yeah. And the other band called Consolation, which is a bit of a weird name for a death metal band, but they were very similar in style actually, and they used to sort of almost seem to bring out their albums at pretty much the same time. And I think I've got both of the band's stuff, but both, I believe, split up now. This is another real heavy one. This is Mangled Torsos. I remember buying this. I did a gig with my band. I think it was like our third gig or something, and we got like 30 quid. And I immediately spent the 30 quid that we got on CDs. So sorry, the rest of the band, who I probably should have given some money to. But I spent it on CDs. Yeah. Sorry about that. I can't remember if I paid it back. Let's say I did. So I don't sound like a complete cad. But I remember buying this CD out of the money that another, probably one or two CDs as well. I can't really remember what happened there. I can't remember. I was probably drunk. But anyway, yeah. So this is Mangled Torso's Drawings of the Dead. It's got really deep guttural singing on it. It's really cool, and it's also got some nice kind of like acoustic kind of bits. Like it's one of those juxtaposition kind of ones where you got like a nice acoustic bit, and it goes into a loud drawn out kind of. And the last one I listened to recently was Forbidden. Yeah, and this one is a Distortion. I think was it their third one? I think it might have been their third one. I thought this was quite decent. I mean, to be honest, Forbidden, they had another one called Green, they had this one. Of course, they had the first album, which was really highly rated, but I thought 3 and 4 were really good as well. Green and this one were both really good still. Although, obviously, the first album, Forbidden, was much way up there as my favourite. The second album I wasn't so enthralled with. Was it Twisted Into Form? It had some decent tracks on it, but it was nowhere near good to my mind as Forbidden Evil. Forbidden Evil is like absolute top tier pinnacle A1 thrash as far as I'm concerned. So, but this is pretty cool. I think the Distortion, Green, and Twisted Into Form are all pretty much on a par, really. They're all decent. They're all good. Yeah, definitely worth listening to this one if you haven't listened to this already. It's not like bands like Flotsam and Jetsam, who had like 2 decent albums and then turned to crap. They carried on being good thrashing still. They were still good thrashing, even when thrash had passed on, moved on, and fucking grunge was the pinnacle, whatever. Anyway, also on this little showing you what I've played recently, I'm doing a contest entry for Brendan Von Doom. That's a really good name. I wonder who came out with that one. Anyway, it might have been me. I don't know. I might have accidentally called him Brendan Von Doom once and it stuck. But that's cool. Anyway, he wants you to show something brutal because he's doing a contest. I can't remember what the band was called now. I should have looked it up beforehand, but I'll put the link to his video anyway. Obviously, I'll put a link to his video in the description and probably at the end of this video, so you can go to his video, find out who the giveaway is for. It's some Aussie thrash band with Brutal is one of the title of one of their songs. I think Show Me Something Brutal or something was the name of the contest and the name of the song on the back of on the album, I think. I remember that much. So he wants us to show you, everyone, something brutal. To be into the contest. You get 2 entries for a video, 1 entry for a comment. So if you don't make videos, you can still leave a comment on his video. The link will be down below and in the corner at the end of the video. So make sure you check it out. First up, I'll call it brutal. It's really fast thrash. It's thrash. It's so fast. It's almost black metal in the speed and delivery of it. It's like No Prisoners, Terror Squad, Japanese thrash metal band. This is the wild stream of eternal sin, and it just doesn't let up. It's just like, oh man! It's just like you just sit there and let it wash over you. The speed and the vitriolicness of the delivery of the vocals and the riffs and all that. It's just like, oh man. Heavy greatness. And then the other band I'm going to show is I just picked out. I found the first 3 CDs that I could find of them. It's a Swedish death metal band called Deranged, in the kind of Euro death metal style, but much heavier. You could think of Entombed or Deranged man, my head's gone. Dismember, but dialed up to 50 or so, dialed up to 100, like much faster. They're not like the brutal death metal in the American vein, like Suffocation, but they're just like amplified, sped up, European death metal style, like brutal vocals, like really cool sound samples thrown in, and it's got got Architects of Perversion is one of their EPs. We've got Sculptures of the Dead. I think this is another EP as well. Got 4 tracks on it. Just the brutalness of the songs as well. The Bowels of My Dismay, Majestic Hole, Sculpture of the Dead, Internal Vaginal Bleeding. Yeah, okay. Don't listen to the songs. Yeah. Coagulated seminal fluids, hammer-cotted rectum, stuff like that. It's all like brutal songs, brutal delivery of songs, brutal lyrics, and this one's even called X-rated. Yeah, it's got such quality tracks as Black Seaman Vengeance, I'm the Love Undertaker, 16 and Dead, and there's a kick-ass cover of Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones on here as well, which is like 300 miles an hour, but really cool as well. I really dig it. So check these bands out if you don't know them already. And the other bands that I showed you earlier. Check out Brendan's channel. Make sure you do an entry to see if you can get in to win the CD. Some Aussie thrash metal band. I can't remember the name now. I could have checked it beforehand, but I was too lazy. Sorry about that. But you don't be too lazy. You go and check out the link down below and in the corner. Go sub up Brendan as well. And yeah, find out more about the band giveaway that he's doing. Anyway, cheers for watching and bye for now.